Hi, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of Legacy Talks with Marissa and Tasha. I'm Marissa Matz,
And I'm Tasha.
and today's topic is actually centered around something that's been coming across my desk quite frequently in the last couple of months. I think just due to the nature of the state of the world and the American workplace, and that is around building resiliency. Not only building resiliency within ourselves, but how do we gather teams to be more resilient in the face of ambiguity, in the face of stress and tension? And how do we still function at work? So, Tasha, let's get started today.
Great. Let's get started. We have a few questions. So let's start with the first question. How do resilient leaders respond when everything feels uncertain?
Now, what I'm going to share today, I may not be really good at yet, but I know that I've tried these things. I've read about these things. I know that they work. So don't hold me to all of these techniques and skills. But one thing I like to discuss with leaders, resilient leaders, is to get their thoughts on what they do. And what I hear people say is the key to responding in high stress or high tension matters is to pause before you respond. This pause allows our brain and our mouth to catch up with one another. And, if I think about a successful, resilient leader, this leader isn't pushing harder and pushing teams and pushing themselves in these tough times or tough situations. It's about them just staying grounded and thinking before they act or thinking before they speak. Now, this pause doesn't have to be like 30 minutes. It can simply be 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 30 seconds. This pause is also one where we can calm the nervous system. Typically, emotions come into our brains and our bodies, and they can quickly dissipate. And I think when we lack the consciousness or awareness of this pause, we might act in anger or despair or frustration, and we don't allow that 10-second pause to calm the nervous system. So I think it's definitely a really effective technique to work on, to practice, maybe in your personal lives first before you come into the workplace, or maybe the workplace is an easier place to practice it than your home life. But really think about using this as a moment of gift, moment of time to give yourself before responding.
That's great advice. Pausing is so important and so hard to do, but once you've mastered it, it's a really great trait. So, all right, question number two. How can leaders support others through change without having all the answers?
Mm. I recently had to practice this with a friend at work, and what I had to tell myself when I was listening to a concern that my coworker had is I had to tell myself, Marissa, it's time to lead with empathy, and I just have to be present here for my friend. And so, what that looks like is I didn't have to respond to my friend with a quick solution. I didn't have to respond to my friend with um, a piece of advice. What my friend needed is someone to listen to her, someone to express my deep care for her. And, while she was sharing this story, I thought to myself, wow, she feels really safe to share this situation with me. She trusts me. And that actually feels really good. So I think that when you respond to a teammate or a team member that's on your team that works for you, when they're going through significant change or even a small change at work or at home, the fact that they're bringing this to you, that they're sharing it with you is a big sign. It's a positive sign that they trust you. And that if you sit and you deeply listen to what their story is, whatever they're going through, whatever they feel comfortable sharing with you, that's a really good sign that they're there being vulnerable for it with you, and they just really want you to listen. You don't have to solve anything. They just want you to listen.
That's a great sign of a great leader, definitely.
Mm.
Okay, as with every recording that we do, our last question is, what is a leadership lesson that you would like to impart on us this week?
Mm. Well, I think along the lines of this resilience, adapting to change topic that we're on today, something that I mentioned earlier this week with my class is that leaders, we can show our adaptability by bending to the times. So I want us to envision an organizational change that comes to us via an email. Our manager emails us, and all of a sudden, you have to sit back in your chair, or your eyes or your eyebrows perk up like, whoa, okay, this is a lot. This is big. I encourage leaders to then sit back and say, okay, how are we going to mold or bend or adapt to this change before we go out and talk to our teams about it? As we start processing what the email is saying, what these potential changes might mean, or if we have to weed through the ambiguity of the change and there isn't much detail in the email, how do we respond in that way? And so I want us to think about how frequently this comes about. Like we might get 4 to 10 emails a day with changes and movement and things that we might not find to be easy. When you're in a leadership role, it's really important to think of it as bending, not breaking, because we can easily break. We can easily throw in the towel. We can easily respond with anger or frustration in the email. And then we can go and talk to our teams with the same anger and frustration. But at the end of the day, when you're in a leadership role, they're looking to us. They want us to see that we're approaching whatever situation in a calm way, that we are adapting and bending. I like to use that. So I really encourage leaders to take moments for themselves, respond in a resilient way. You don't have to take immediate action, but gain composure, lower that tension in the nervous system, and then respond in the best way that you can. Still being honest, still being authentic, so that your teams know that you're adapting to the change with them.
That's great advice. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tasha. I've had a great conversation, everybody. I hope to see you next time, and I hope some of what we said today resonates with you and you can take it into your leadership. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks.